Okay, be patient with me if I ramble on today because I'm really cooking today. I think it might be low blood sugar, but I'm reminded of when this is like 30, 40 years ago. My cousins from Italy came, and of course, I was just like a pothead, tremendous pothead for years, 50 years, before I finally realized just what that cost. Anyway, oh, you gotta get high. So he gets high and he says, "Detozze, detozze." And I was like, ooh, detozze. And that's what's happening to me, detozze. Also, I got a Chinese friend I remember trying to get high. We were in grad school, and he was just laid out. He said, my God, I can see how people want to throw themselves out a window. I said, gee whiz, come on. What is he exaggerating? I had no idea. And these are people that, were fresh culturally out of their bloodstream is completely fresh. And you may have experienced this with the pot experience, which is, it's just really, it's a powerful, and now, it's a product. We're going to sell it. It's legal and no problem, like alcohol, no problem. And of course, it's just so that's for another day. Anyway, I was thinking about this notion of the strong man, the man on horseback, which a lot of Catholic societies really like this guy. And I remember on other things of talking about Mussolini. I remember my mother saying, I'm going to forget his name now, but the inspiration to the fascist movement under Mussolini was not Benedetto. I'm going to come up with the wrong author's name. It's going to have to wait because it's blocking and I'm old. But Gabriele D'Annunzio. And my mother said, wow, what a great. And my mother was, had a big battle going with my father, and it was a classic one of these male types of things, because my dad was very operatic, macho, gangsterish type of, Guapanopoli guy. And so it's a wonderful dialectic that went on between the two. But, oh, Mom, would you like Gabriele D'Annunzio? I read Gabriele D'Annunzio. My mother was like one of these, don't touch me, the men are so... D'Annunzio was a huge rock star poet before Mussolini and so forth. And his big thing was rape fantasy. And the women in Italy were into it. That was so sexy. Oh, God, it's going to show you everything. It gives you no choice to, give you your sexual awakening through mastery. And you go to Machiavelli, the woman likes the whip, the mastery and so forth. So it brings you back to marijuana, it became a political issue. The instant you got, the government said, oh, we have to repress this, put people in jail, seize their homes, black people smoke pot, my God, it's the African hordes are going to take over. Immediately, so, as physics would tell you, every force invites an opposite reaction of equal force. So just like with any youth, you tell them it's poison fruit. Tell them don't have that, and it's gonna. Oh, I gotta have that. Don't eat so much, Dickie. Oh my God, it's so terrible. Well, it feels pretty good to me. So and we go round and round and round and round and round. And my theory is that half a life is wonderful, and half a life is awful. It's like good and evil. It's like truth and falsehood. Like every truth has the false side of it, depending on the context. And it's another YouTube thing, which is, no truth is forever. No truth is enduring. Because the world, as Heraclitus would tell us before Socrates, the world changes all the time. So you have truth in one context, it's going to change because the other context and the underlying premise that you give it is going to change. That's the scientific method. You have givens on any law that you come up with, but you got to test it and so forth. And even then, you don't know. Hume said this 200-300 years ago. The sun rises in the morning and sets, and no, it doesn't. If, in the first place, it appears to rise and set, but it doesn't. In fact, we circle the sun, so we're not the center of the universe. No. You mean human beings don't know it all? No. So you mean there's a hidden thing there that we don't know all of, that we can't have mastered? Yeah. the totes, the totes. We have McGilchrist, right hemisphere, left hemisphere. Left hemisphere is words and grappling things and imposing our will on the universe. Right hemisphere, it's nothing. It's just for impressions, and it can't speak. It has no capacity to speak. You have to look in the details. I know I'm going over this a little bit. But all this ESP and, that's all, come on, astrology. That's, no, it's a vibing out of our environment. And for some reason, we have these vibes that tell us stuff. Now, half of the time, it's total baloney. Half of the time, it's up to no good. But maybe half of the time, it's got something to contribute, depending on how you handle it. And that is the mystery of life. How do you unlock this mystery that we have? Religion. Half of the time, it's in that, when you're off with the Crusades, killing people in the name of Christ, obviously it's the worst possible way to go. It's the total wrong idea. If you interpret yourself as a Christian and you're saying, I follow Jesus Christ, and I want to take a sword and clunk it over the head of some unclean Islamic, guess what? Equal and opposite reaction. The Islamists are going to say, unclean, you heretics. And, everybody gets to kill each other. So here's part of my thinking these days. We've got, and I was trying to promote that Trump should just say, okay, I'm going to be better than Jesus Christ. I'm going to convert the military-industrial complex into all a mercy mission. We're going to share half of the $1 trillion or so in the military. We're going to give it to U.S. aid and all the poor people that can't get up to our standards. And, this is just an extension. We call ourselves, we're Christians over here. Okay. As far as if you did a world vote, if you put the vote up to everything, and that was the big innovation of the United States. Oh my God, consent of the governed. That's Magna Carta. Consent of the governed. That was mind-blowing. You mean kings don't have divine right? You mean God doesn't say that they get to be boss about everything and we get to be all these little miserable slaves that live a nasty, Brutus and short life, as was said. No, we're inching forward. Every year we do maybe 50% that's totally useless and awful, and maybe 50% good, and 1% more good than bad. And we're inching forward in history. So how do I calibrate that? World War II, worst ever. God, 6 million people die in Russia. 6 million Jews are killed for no reason, executed. Absolute madness. Absolute madness. Then we get Vietnam, first war to be televised. Oh, our innovation of television, which is first in history, we actually see what it's like. And it's even worse than the beginning of Saving Private Ryan. That's just the beginning of it. It was shocking because films couldn't portray, guys walking around with their arms and guts spilling out and somebody getting their face blown in. That happens all the time. And we have people coming back traumatized from war, and it's war weariness. You don't have the guts to be in war. No, it's absolutely bestial. It is the worst possible idea ever. War is the worst possible idea ever. So we, lucky Americans, get to have a lower death count than poor Europe, for example. And after the war, there's all this destroyed property. So here our income, we come back, we treat the veterans right, and sure enough, 1950s and 60s, we have this incredible flowering to the peak, the flower power, 1967. The peak. Hey, let's love everybody. Come on, peace now. No, not so fast. Too many people invested in it. Too many phony baloney religionists that think that religion means you got to kill other people. Totally misinterpreted. 1% improvement is, Vietnam, we lose 50,000 dead. Awful. I mean, you gotta be, this is like in the mafia thing, they say, it's business. It's not personal. You gotta look at the numbers, just sort of say, without emotion. Everlasting tragedy, our cost in the Vietnam War. But the war wasn't necessary. The war was built on a lie. The war was built on bullshit. And this cult of the man on horseback, Mussolini, oh, Caesar, hail Caesar. And this is something I remember my dad filled me up with this crap when I was a kid. And dads everywhere, I think in China they probably do the same damn thing, which is you gotta be a man, and nobody's gonna take and mastery, and you gotta look at the champions, they're all mastery of disciplines. And it's true, mastery of disciplines, but you gotta look at the discipline of some of these real overachievers, and it's usually out of pain, it's usually out of anguish, it's usually out of lack of love. Look at Lenin, look at Marlon Brando, people that did not have, that have, questions about their parenting. Nicholson didn't know who his mother was. Tremendous sorrow from inside yields these performers, yields this extraordinary type of accomplishment. I can't say the same for science, but usually if you lose a parent early on, that helps. So it's out of suffering that human accomplishment, greatness emerges. And where's the suffering from? The suffering is from lack of love. Love is the driving motive. Love is the driving force. Love is the reason we want to stay alive. Death is just the other side of the coin. It's going to be ever present. It's going to define why life and love is so good, because there's death, and death ain't so good. So what am I suggesting about death and war and so forth? All this advice that the father, you got to be the boss, says, no, you got to love too. You got to have an open heart. You got to forgive. You got to be a fool sometimes. You got to be a sucker sometimes, because that's what makes the world work. Okay? You got to give it up sometimes. No, you can't be master of your own. Oh, I'm the individual. You got to think about the rest of the world that defines you as an individual. You aren't who you are without other people. You wouldn't know how to talk unless other people taught you how to talk. You didn't invent that yourself. The human mind thinks, oh, we're God, we've created. Look, I open my eyes and the world, and behold, the world is brought to my feet. No, it isn't. It all ends when you kick. Oh, maybe there's a discussion that you can have about it. But the thing is that love is the driving force. This is kind of goes back to, and it's not just Christian. It's, go to Tao, go to Buddhism and stuff, go to the religions thousands of years before we're so clever we invented the atomic bomb. Ask Heisenberg, who invented the atomic bomb. He'll tell you about good and evil, about how truth is not enduring. Nothing is for sure. The world is ours to create, which is part of the attraction of early fascism, which was existentialism, which is we're free. We're free to make our world. We're free to have the choice not to go to war. We're free to have the choice not to use weapons. So the United States never under immediate attack except for one event, except for the beginning of World War II in Hawaii and the World Tower. We have never been attacked on land. And yet, we spent more than the rest of the world on military. And we're loaded to the teeth with armaments. And of course we're going to use it. We're going to use it when when we're weak, when we can't deliver the product anymore, when we can't make a good living, and we can't get away with shoving it over at poor people in other countries and paying them miserable wages so a tiny little elite can have the huge disproportionate gains. Come on. We all went to school. We can look history. This is not an elusive mystery. This is not rocket science. And by the way, we figured out rocket science, but ask the scientists, they'll tell you. So that's my kvetch for the moment. God, how long have I gone? Just forever.